But we go and meet everybody and say, hey, great show, and then still live.
Remember this?
Amerie?
Yes.
Yeah. Sicko Mode. I feel like this is Beyonce was in her nachos for that, for B-Day.
Many people have been talking about claims that Beyoncé has taken ideas, songs, or creative concepts from other artists. Supporters argue that she is simply inspired by others, while critics believe some situations go much further than normal artistic influence. According to those critics, many people inside the music industry are afraid to speak openly because they worry about damaging their careers or being pushed out of important opportunities. One artist whose name often comes up in these discussions is Amerie. Reports and rumors have suggested that she has faced major career struggles over the years. In interviews, Amerie has spoken about feeling as though she never fully reached her potential as an artist. She has expressed that her career seemed to be gaining momentum before things suddenly changed direction. While she has continued making music and pursuing her passion, many fans believe she deserved far more success than she ultimately received. Of course, inspiration is a normal part of music and entertainment. Artists constantly borrow ideas, styles, and influences from those who came before them. The difference, critics argue, is that most performers openly acknowledge those influences and then create something unique from them. Beyoncé has faced accusations from some people who claim she has crossed that line on several occasions. One of the most frequently discussed examples involves the song, If I Were a Boy. The track was originally written by BC Jean and producer Toby Gad after BC Jean experienced a breakup. The song was intended to help launch her own career, and she reportedly hoped it would become her debut single. However, after Beyoncé's team became aware of the song, Beyoncé recorded her own version, which later appeared on the album I Am. Sasha Fierce. BC Jean was surprised by the development because she believed the song might help establish her as a recording artist. Although she eventually received songwriting credit, some critics felt the situation highlighted how difficult it can be for newer artists to compete with major stars. Another controversy involved singer Jennifer Armour, who claimed that Beyoncé's hit Baby Boy was similar to a song she had previously shared with the record label. Jennifer alleged that she had submitted her music and later heard a song on the radio that she felt closely resembled her work. She attempted to challenge the situation and seek recognition, but her efforts did not lead to the outcome she wanted. There were also allegations involving producer Terrence T. Robinson. According to reports, he shared material with Matthew Knowles in hopes of advancing his career. Later, questions were raised regarding similarities between that work and the Destiny's Child hit, Survivor. Robinson eventually pursued legal action, and reports suggested the matter was resolved privately. Critics have also pointed to occasions when songwriting credit became a topic of debate. For example, Beyoncé once spoke about the message behind Irreplaceable, leading some fans to assume she had written it. Songwriter Ne-Yo later clarified publicly that he was the person who originally wrote the song before giving it to Beyoncé to record. Beyond music, some people have accused Beyoncé of borrowing visual concepts and performances. One example often mentioned is her performance of Run the World, which drew comparisons to a routine by Italian entertainer Lorella Cuccarini. Viewers noticed similarities between the two performances, and the discussion became widespread online. Beyoncé later acknowledged that she had seen and admired Lorella's work. Amerie's story is perhaps the example that fans discuss most often. When her debut album All I Have was released, expectations were modest, but the project performed well. The lead single, Why Don't We Fall in Love, helped establish her identity as an artist. The music video featured a simple but memorable style, with Amerie wearing a white tank top, shorts, and red heels while confidently walking through city streets. When Beyoncé later released the video for Crazy in Love, some viewers noticed similarities in the fashion choices and visual presentation. Critics argued that the styling and overall feel seemed familiar. The discussion grew even stronger when producer Rich Harrison, who had helped create Amerie's signature sound, also began working with Beyoncé. Amerie often spoke highly of her creative partnership with Harrison, describing their collaboration as something special. Together they developed a distinctive sound that blended modern R&B with go-go influences. Their work continued on her second album, which included the hit song One Thing. That track became one of Amerie's biggest successes and further defined her musical identity. According to Amerie, she fought to keep the song for herself after concerns that it might be given to another artist. In the end, One Thing became a major moment in her career and remains one of the songs most associated with her unique style. Whether these stories represent unfair borrowing or simply the way the music industry works remains a matter of debate. What is clear is that these controversies continue to fuel discussions about credit, influence, and the challenges faced by emerging artists when competing with some of the biggest names in entertainment.
And so I still feel like I haven't reached my peak yet. Like I feel like it's just, because it was like just starting and then kind of like, I don't want to say things went left.
Many people have wondered why Amerie was not involved in Beyoncé's hit song Crazy in Love, especially because the track seemed to share some similarities with the style that Amerie became known for. However, Amerie later clarified the situation and explained that she was never supposed to record that song. According to her, producer Rich Harrison never played the track for her. She suggested that while it may have originally been considered for her, it ultimately went to Beyoncé when a bigger opportunity became available. The debate became even stronger when Beyoncé released Green Light. Unlike Crazy in Love, Rich Harrison was not involved in creating that song. It was produced by the Neptunes, yet many listeners still noticed similarities between it and Amerie's hit One Thing. Both songs featured energetic R&B production, fast drum patterns, powerful horn sounds, and a similar overall feel. Some fans even pointed out that the songs shared the same tempo and had comparable vocal styles, making the resemblance difficult to ignore. According to Amerie, by that point Beyoncé and her team had likely become very familiar with the musical direction she and Rich Harrison had developed on her first two albums. Critics argue that elements of that signature sound later appeared in other songs released by Beyoncé. At the time, Beyoncé was already one of the biggest stars in music. She had the success of Dangerously in Love behind her, along with years of fame from Destiny's Child. Few artists had the industry support needed to compete at that level, and many believe Amerie was at a disadvantage despite her talent. As the years passed, the difference in their careers became impossible to ignore. Beyoncé grew into a global superstar and business powerhouse, while Amerie's commercial success slowed significantly. Because of that contrast, many fans still wonder how different things might have been if Amerie had received the same level of promotion, resources, and opportunities. To them, it remains one of the music industry's biggest what-if stories.
One Thing came out in 2004 because I leaked it over Christmas because everyone would be on break, so they can't stop anything. Exactly. So I was like, I'm gonna be out here, I'm gonna drop a match. You know, for me, I was like, look, I think I might get dropped. So I just want people to hear the music. I don't really care about getting paid for it. I just want people to hear it because I believe in it. And they're on Christmas break, so we can just do it. And at the time, they were trying to like give the record to somebody else. They were trying to do that, but they couldn't because I wrote on the record too. So you can't just take it. And that was frustrating for them, I guess.
But why?
At the time, both Amerie and Beyoncé were signed to the urban division of Columbia Records, which meant they were competing for many of the same resources, promotion opportunities, and industry attention. However, Beyoncé had a much larger budget, a highly experienced management team, and strong connections throughout the music business. Many people believe this gave her a significant advantage that was difficult for Amerie to overcome. According to critics, the gap between their careers continued to grow as Beyoncé's success increased. Eventually, Amerie became frustrated with how her label handled her projects, especially after problems surrounding one of her album releases. The experience left her deeply disappointed with the music industry. She later revealed that for many years she struggled to listen not only to Beyoncé's music, but also to songs from other artists because it reminded her of her own career setbacks and the opportunities she felt had slipped away.
People would be like, wait, that's not your record? Why did he give that record to you? And I'm like, he never played that record for me. But after our first album, see the thing, what happened during that time?
Tell us.
Like after...
Tell us what happened. This is going to be all over the internet.
After the...
This is going to be a whole line, girl.
It's really simple. It's like we did the first album, right? And after the first album came out, it made a lot of noise and people really like really love that album. And Jay loved the album too.
Because of how events unfolded, some fans believe Amerie became another artist who was overshadowed as Beyoncé's career continued to grow. Many listeners have pointed out similarities between Beyoncé's song Green Light and Amerie's One Thing, with some noticing the resemblance long before hearing about the debate between the two artists. Critics argue that Beyoncé often drew inspiration from the work of others, while supporters disagree. The discussion continues among fans today. What do you think? Did Beyoncé borrow elements from Amerie's style? Or was it simply a coincidence? Share your thoughts below.